We are back on Morning Line talking property tax values and the like. Parker Toler's with us. He's the Metro trustee, the man who stepped into the shoes of Charlie Cardwell in charge of collecting the property taxes here in Davidson County. Billions of dollars over the years. And we were just talking during the break about how still it's estimated, what? Imagine this, folks. 80 people or so, and it's an estimate. I find it hard to believe. 80 people a month moving to Davidson County. Moving to 80 people, where are they going? And that's why you say these property tax values are holding. Because I keep wondering, someone paying $500,000 for a 700 square foot apartment. I mean, I think that's just incredibly expensive for what you get. But it's location, and those property values are holding.
Yes, it seems like they are. They're continue to go up. Maybe not quite as much as they were a little while back, a year or so ago, but they are still continuing to go up.
Oh, I'll tell you, I drive around town and I see all these new condos going up, and I look at them, I see the pricing, I go, who's buying these and where are they getting the money? I don't know. Anyway, whatever. It's a positive sign for the economy, but at the same time, a lot of people are in a pickle for this. Yeah. So, Parker, let's talk a little bit about this property tax relief that's out there. What do you want to hit on?
Well, I guess the main thing is that the tax relief program, if your income is less than $29,860, you can qualify for the tax relief program.
Is that a single individual?
That's
any household?
A household.
A household less than $30,000 a year. Okay, so income below that amount.
That's right.
That's on the screen there. There's three. Okay, and then tax freeze.
Tax freeze is $42,620. And that's for a household. If the property's in two names, a husband and wife, for the tax relief is $29,860, and for the tax freeze is $42,620. Both of those things, if anyone has any thought that they are close to those incomes, we would be glad to look at their situation. They could bring their income to us, their bank statement, their any other retirement benefits they might have, and we'll do everything possible to help them qualify.
Does it depend on the value of the property they're in, or does it just center on those totals?
It's on income totally. The value of the property
doesn't come into play. I mean, because it could be someone on that salary that's in Green Hills, or with a very expensive home, or someone with someplace else with a lesser expensive home, but they still are at that income level.
That's exactly right. As long as that income, they meet that, doesn't matter about the value of their home.
Okay, so talk about the form the tax relief comes in. How does that work? Is it a one-time thing? They have to reapply next year again if they get it, or how does it work?
Here's what happens. Once they come to the office the first time and fill out all the necessary documents, we make the application and turn it in, the state approves it, then the next year we'll send them a voucher, and they will just send their part of the payment in, and they will do that each year as long as they qualify for the program. If something were to happen that they suddenly have a windfall income in some way, then that could take them off the program. But if their income is the same and it stays that way, then they're going to be able to stay on the program. And we just send them the voucher each year. They have to complete it and send it back to us. But the first time, they do have to come into the office so that we see who they are and know the situation.
Just confirm it all. Documents required for tax relief for seniors: proof of age, driver's license, state ID, proof of residence, maybe your voter's registration, a 2018 income tax return, maybe a bank statement, a Medicare card. Can you give an example based on, I see you have some numbers here, how much it could save someone? I mean, are we talking about, depending, I guess, of course, on the value of their property, they could get a check for a percentage of what they owe?
Well, it's about an average of $700. If you're in the urban service, it's $756. If you're in the general service, it's $660.92.
Yeah, that's a savings. So that's more money in their pocket.
Certainly is. So if you're in the inner city area, the urban service, it's $756 that you would get a credit on the tax relief program.
Now the freeze, how does that work? I mean, if you freeze it, they still owe what their tax is, right? Does that mean it doesn't go up next year, or how does that work?
It would be frozen at the level that they are now. If their property tax is now $2,500 and they qualify for the tax freeze, their property tax bill would stay the same, no matter if there was a reappraisal, a tax increase, as long as their income stayed below that $42,600, and that amount can increase because these numbers are based on Social Security numbers, by the state of Tennessee. If they happen to get a Social Security raise, then those numbers could go up some.
Okay, so it'll freeze then moving forward
It'll freeze
to
their property tax
subsequent years
at the level that it is.
All right, and now we also didn't mention that it also can apply to service members, correct?
Yes, veterans. There's a little different program, but all they need to do is bring in the information that they have.
If the veterans disabled
veterans,
yeah, disabled veterans, no age requirement on that one, no age requirement for the disabled in general. So it's veterans disabled, also tax relief for disabled.
That's right.
Correct. No age requirement on either of those. For the seniors, it would be 65 and above. And again, most of the same information coming in. As far as the tax freeze, that comes in for homeowners 65 and above.
That's right.
But tax relief for disabled veterans. The basics there. You can't be dishonorably discharged. You must have 100% total permanent disability. Same thing. So you guys can look at Social Security documents.
That's right. And each one of those is a little different, but most of the disabled veterans, we can help them with their tax bill, period, that we can do something about that.
You get a sense of how many people this helps? You've been there for 7 years as it goes. How many people seek it out, and how many people out there don't realize it's available and could benefit maybe?
The number of people that do not realize it's available, we do not know.
Yeah,
that's
no
why
way to
we're
know
trying
that.
to reach out everywhere. Any senior citizens group or community group that invite us to come, we are glad to talk to them and give them details, and even sit down with them to see if they can qualify. If we know we're going to get several people to come to visit with us when we go to various events, we are glad to do that. This is probably benefiting about 8,000 people right now.
In Davidson County,
Yes.
year to year, 8,000 people will
8,000.
benefit, covering all through those categories.
That's
Seniors,
right. Covering
disabled,
all of
disabled
them,
veterans.
the disabled veterans, the tax relief, and the tax freeze. About 8,000.
Okay, that's why I think it's just really worth doing this show. And we may not get a lot of calls on this, but I hope the people watching right now, even if they don't think they benefit, we all know someone who's a senior. And I can think offhand of a handful of people right off the bat that I think might benefit from this that are in homes. So share that. You watch the show. And by the way, they need to call then the trustee's office. Is that what they do? Metro's trustee's office. What is that? 862-6330.
Yes,
There's the number up there.
yes.
Mary Elaine has already got it.
Right.
You call 615-862-6330. How many people, when you talk about collecting the taxes, that's the trustee's job.
Yes.
That means you're the trustee, you kind of supervise and administrate it. Well, how big a staff do you have? And in terms of collecting, I mean, people send their taxes in, correct?
Yes. We have 22 people, including me, and we have customers in every day. In the summer, after the April 5th deadline, so to speak, was February the 28th deadline without there being interest in April the 5th. So those days we are busy until that time. In the summertime, it kind of slows down, but we still have people paying, year-round various taxes. New businesses going in, their personal tax, and then some folks pay their property tax year-round. Then there's transactions of home sales, so we have to participate in those when the title companies pay. So it's an ongoing project every day to collect the money. So
what happens if someone just abruptly stops paying their property tax? Talk about the process. I assume you notice, okay, they didn't pay. You send out a notice to them saying you are delinquent on your property tax.
Well,
you hear nothing. Then what happens?
Well, after 2 years of delinquent tax.
2 years.
2 years. Then the property tax bill is taken by the clerk and master of the Chancery Court.
Okay.
And then they have to deal with the Chancery Court to get it back to our office.
Does someone from your office pay a visit to a home if the taxes aren't being paid for those 2 years to say, hey, what's going on? Or
no, we do not do that now. If we find or hear of someone that their taxes at the point of being 2 years becoming delinquent, at the point of going to the clerk and master, we try to reach out in every way. If we get a phone call, we try to do everything we can to help folks get their bill paid.
Now, and some people maybe are in a pickle, other people are just delinquent. Ultimately, you don't pay your property taxes. The county's going to take your home. I mean, I'm saying that's the last resort.
Yes.
But you're not going to, I mean, we all have to pay our fair share. If you don't pay it, and it may take 2 or 3 years, but you're going to lose your home.
See, and that's what the laws, passed by the state of Tennessee and Metro Nashville, that if you must pay your if you own a piece of property, you must pay your property
In the
tax.
7 years you've been there, have you had to do that at all?
Well, at the end of the year, we have a certain number that go to the Chancery Court. That number varies.
Okay, I was just curious. They go to the Chancery Court, and you don't necessarily always hear what happens after the fact. Then does if the Chancery Court recovers the money, then okay, you get that. But
that's
if not,
right. We get
Chancery Court says they're delinquent. They continue to not respond. They don't show up in court. I imagine the sheriff's deputies are sent over there.
What happens then? They start the process to auction the property to collect the tax.
Right.
One way or the other, it will be collected. But many times, even when it goes to the Chancery Court, the folks can work out something to pay it. I mean, there's lots of. The last resort is taking the property and putting it up for auction to sell it to collect the tax. That's the very last thing that anyone wants to ever do.
I would imagine that sometimes happens simply because maybe a property has been abandoned, and the people are no longer. They just say whatever, and they leave, and maybe for who knows why, they just leave.
Well, that does happen. There are vacant lots here and there that people, sometimes even, companies that own lots of properties even forget they own them until they get the point that it's gone to the Chancery Court.
Really? then they're like, well, how much? And you have to pay all that back with interest, do you not?
Yes, you do. That varies. As long as it stays in our office, you only pay penalty and interest up until the 2-year time. Then after the 2-year time, when it goes to the Chancery Court, then that's another matter. There are other charges added, legal fees and so forth.
Oh, it adds up. You don't want to go there.
No.
You ever have to deal with any sovereign citizens that claim they don't? Have you ever had a few of them come through the office?
No, I have not personally. I think that we may have had a few, but
there are some who think that they shouldn't have to pay taxes and don't want to, and they make their arguments, and they always lose. But
we have them occasionally say, I live in certain satellite city, and I don't have your services. So I don't owe any tax.
Right.
But there's a difference between the general and the urban service.
Okay, so they make that argument, but still, the bottom line too, and that's what we have to remind: no one likes taxes, but they serve an important purpose. The money you collect pays for what?
Well, the money we collect goes to the general fund,
and it's about 50% of the fund.
So, well, it's a little less than 50%, but very close.
And the other monies come, by the way, besides property tax,
sales tax, grants, and
all that kind of stuff,
various other things.
All right, but about 50%, and so that goes into the general fund, meaning pays for everything.
That's right. It pays for the streets, the trash being picked up, the snow being cleaned up, whatever it is that needs to be done.
Those monies go into the bucket to pay for law enforcement?
That's right.
Any public service?
Any public service, that's right.
I mean, think about that. That is a lot of money, and how crucial it is to put into that. So where do we stand? When typically are the bills due? Does it vary from household to household?
Well, no, we send the bills out starting in October. Okay. We have, as far as property tax bills, we have 260,000 or a little more, with the personally it's up to that 280 something, 290. But we send those bills out in October. And folks have until February the 28th to pay without there being any interest or penalty.
Okay.
So we are glad to accept the payments if they want to pay monthly or they want to pay. We even give them an option when we send the bill. If they make 5 payments by the February the 28th, they'll have their bill paid.
Okay. And the average cost of a bill, again, that's hard to say, but what is a typical property tax bill? How much, average? Are you going to the median? I know there's higher and lower depending on the property value.
I'd say that probably $2,500 to $3,000 is probably an average.
It's right in the ballpark of what you'll pay per year on your property tax. Obviously, some will pay far less, some will pay more depending on the value of the property.
And now that number goes up a little bit because values in Nashville are going up. So what was a medium price house at one time now is far more than that, like maybe $250,000, maybe about a medium price house now. And
again, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the value of a house, I like getting into that with him because I'm always intrigued by that in terms of the property tax assessment. In terms of they assess the value of it and how closely they look and whether they get it right all the time and what you can do if you disagree with what they say the value of your home is. We'll be back. We can take a few calls if you'd like. If not, sit back and listen. 737-7587 Talking Taxes with Metro Trustee Parker Toler. We'll be back right after this.